Welcome or welcome back to White Gaming for some more on Dead Island. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Dead Island 2 expansion Sola, which is the second DLC that is dropping, and if you bought the gold edition of the game, then you will have this one currently for free. It is awesome, looks really cool so far. It is basically set at a festival. We know a few little bits about it, but the main point is that it releases on the 17th of April, so just a few days away. Now, if you are a fan of Dead Island and other survival games, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and stick around for much more survival and zombie content. That is mainly what we do here, and on our second channel, we're Bethesda focused, so all things Fallout, Starfield, all that jazz, if you do want to check that out. Links are all in the description down below. Now, alongside the DLC, they've also released this here, which is the Dead Island 2 art book, which you can grab from the Epic store. Looks pretty cool, some interesting little bits in there. And the price for that is $38.49. It is on sale down from $50, so that's a fucking expensive art book. And they've also announced that Dead Island 2 is also coming to Steam just a few days after the DLC releases on the 22nd of April. Now let's get into the good stuff. The DLC, what it includes, what we're going to get, and all that we know so far. We do know that there's going to be a whole new section of map. Unlike the House DLC, which was pretty much self-contained, this one is much more open world and will feature loads of awesome new bits like the collectibles, loads of new weapons, loads of new clothes, and of course a whole host of new zombies. Alongside that, they have also teased some of the festival's music. So we're going to have a load of music going off in the background, and they're all done by certain bands, as you can see here. Now, I don't know if those bands are real or whether they're just made for the game. I'm pretty sure they're just made for the game. I couldn't find too much online on whether they were real bands or not, so I'm assuming it's just made for the gamer. It would have been cool, though, to get some real bits in there, sort of like what Fortnite does with their events, and they have some big players on, but I don't think there'd be too many massive names coming into it anyway, because, well, it's a game about chopping the shit out of anything that moves, and it looks pretty cool. We're going to have some pretty decent music. Whether we're going to be able to impact on what we're playing and what's going on in the background, we'll have to wait and see. But would be cool to be able to contribute to that and have our own sort of style of music come through as we're playing. And now we've also got the release times for the DLC. Obviously, April the 17th in the UK is at 4 PM. So very excited for that. And as you can see here are all of the other times. Now, as Sola is going to be a big open area that we'll be able to go out and explore, as mentioned, we're going to come across collectibles, various side missions, and a main overarching storyline to the DLC. But with that is going to be coming a load of new zombies, new weaponry, of course the cards as well, which pretty damn cool. Some new stuff to go out and get and collect, and enhance our sort of Slayer abilities. Now, we have not seen too much about the zombies, which is a shame. We've seen a few blueprints for some of the weapons that we're going to be able to use and experience and create. Now, we haven't seen too much about the zombies that we're going to be encountering in the Sola DLC. They have said that there's a few in there. They've spoke about 3 so far, and this is one of the main ones. Now, these look quite cool, and what they do is pretty much rip out their intestines and use them as a whip. So, you're going to have to stay away from these guys. There's also going to be some big, more brutish ones, and alongside those, a third one which they haven't really said anything about yet. They also went into more detail about the Whipper in their sort of devlog that announced the release. They said they started with the idea that they wanted to have an enemy with a whip-like attack, but to do it without giving the zombies intelligence or tools. So this wanted to try and cement this in the body horror and zombie aesthetic that we've seen so far and really enjoyed. So this one has pretty much wrapped its body open and started to dig in. Now it has its own intestines wrapped up in the arms so they can be used as a whip. Fearsome up close and at range, this brand new horror still fits into the boho festival style, creating another memorable monster in a game that's already crawling with malignant rotting critters. Now, as mentioned, there are some new weapons to deal with these new enemies, and this is the only one we've got a real close look at, which is pretty much a guitar that has been fired down into an axe, which looks pretty damn cool. And as you can see here as well, we haven't seen much of the map yet, but it looks relatively big, open, and full of zombies just wandering around doing their own thing. Now, we have seen 6 weapons so far. Obviously, I just showed you the guitar one, which the guitar axe, which also has a sort of pointy bit on the end, which looks quite cool. But we've also got these other 2 here. The tactical hammer, which has a scope on it. For some reason, why not, right? Why not? It's a dead island. To do what you want with your weapons, it's fun. And then, obviously, the microphone claws at the top there, which they do look pretty damn cool. And then here we've got 3 new toys as well. Which one is a throwable, which is the swarm grenade. Number 2 is the ripper, which is a baseball bat with what looks like an actual working circular saw on top, and it looks beastly. That's going to do a hell of a load of damage. And then finally, the saw blade launcher, which I have a feeling this is going to be my personal favorite. Looks pretty damn cool. And then for the cards, we don't have any news really other than this one card here, which is the Masochist card. This one's for the hardcore. If you want to survive, you will have to up your game. Now, the Masochist card is described as a cocktail of game modifiers that ramp up the challenge to slot in the card, and you'll get a brand new combat feel. But not just combat, there's multiple effects that all compound onto one another. So it's basically ramping up the difficulty to a whole new level, but not just making things sort of tougher to beat or your output is less. It's mixing in a whole host of things by the sounds of it. There's no definitive news on what it's going to actually do yet, other than make things more difficult. So it does sound interesting. If you are looking for a more difficult tailored experience, then the Masochist card is probably going to be one for you. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, the Dead Island 2 Sola DLC launches in just a few days' time on the 17th of April. So if you are looking forward to that one, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stick around for much more Dead Island content. We'll be covering the DLC when it releases. We'll probably end up doing some guides if there are major collectibles and new locations, some weapon bits and bobs, little bits like that. But if there's anything specific you want to see, let me know in the comments down below. Big fan of Dead Island, great game, really enjoyable, and just love the overall combat of it, to be honest. Just blowing shit up and destroying zombies is so much fun. But if there's all sorts of survival stuff you want to see, let me know in the comments down below. I've got loads of survival stuff on my radar at the moment. It's just having the time to get through and do loads of the content for it. Because it takes a little bit of time. Obviously, I work full time as well. If there's anything specific you want to see, let me know down below in the comments, and I'll get on it. For now, though, I've been Wide. You've been awesome. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all very soon with some more survival content.